We're in the experimentation mode, so basically we're going to try just using a little piece of silver wire, and that's going to thin it down a lot and possibly make it even a little bit more balanced with the piece itself. Just a single piece of wire. Let me cut that off and see what we've got. Yeah, that looks a little better. Squeeze it together. Oops. Yeah. File the junctions so that when it squeezes together, it kind of matches up. There we go. Yeah, that's nice. Let's see how it works with the piece. Much better. Yeah, that has a good feel to it. So now we'll just weld this part together here, and then we'll attach it to that little wing right there, and I think we're pretty well set to go. Get this file down a little bit better. Yeah. So let's take this over. We've already marked it on the back. We know where we want the bail to go. It's going to go right there. So then we just weld it in place, and we're pretty well complete, except for polishing, of course, which is, you know, always a whole nother ballgame. Okay, we doused this thing with boric acid and alcohol. We've got it setting up in the air, because I like to weld bales on kind of on the fly. I don't like them to be flat, because mostly what happens is you can never tell exactly where the bale is going to land when it's flat. So we'll pick up the bale here. We got the bale right there. Just heat it up a little bit, and I go down and I just dip into some flux that's kind of laying around, because you don't really need that much. And then a little solder, and just heat it up, and oh, you can't see it. Okay, still can't see it. Alright, let me raise the, there we go. So then I just take a little solder off the wire, heat everything up until the solder takes. There it is. A little extra. Pull the solder away. And then I just come in and get myself all set up and heat the whole thing up, and just hope and pray. There it goes, almost ready to go. Oh, there it went. Come on. Always have to coax it along. Well, it's there, I know it is. There it goes. Okay, now we just kind of do it until the solder takes really nicely. I don't think the solder's taken nicely yet. back in place. Break it loose. There, now it's come loose. Now reposition it. There. Now it's in good shape. Now notice that the bail hangs a little funny, but you know, later on, once it's gone through the acid again, then the bail can be in good shape. I mean, we can just bend it sideways one way or the other, and we'll be in good shape. So this is the piece. We're going to put it, we're now going to quench it, and then we're going to put it in the acid and let her sit for a while. And maybe we come back later on this afternoon and finish it up. All right, let's have a look at this. And you know, I said I'm going to come back tomorrow, but the fact is that it's June and it's nice and warm out, and so the acid is a bit warmer, and it reacts pretty quickly. So we've taken it out of the acid and put it in the fresh water. Well, not that fresh, but water with no acid in it. Now we're going to drop it out of that and have a look at it. Okay, yeah, looks pretty good. So let's take it over to the bench, clean it up, and see what we've got. We've got, it looks pretty good. And it even probably hangs pretty well too. Let's check it out. We'll hang it from a, not too bad. Looks like it hangs just about right. Now it might be hanging a little bit forward. Can you see that? Maybe once we get that stone in there it might hang differently. So we'll wait until we get the stone in. So now basically we're going to take it over and give it a polish and see how it comes out. Well, actually, you know, at this point I think it might be a good idea to go ahead and put the antiquing in. So let me go over and get some antiquing and we'll do that. So Winox is my favorite antique material, and I swear I bought this bottle new maybe 20-25 years ago. I used it a lot when I was younger, and I still use it here and there, but basically we just dip it in there, and you get the same effect if you put, let's say, liver of sulfur will give you the same effect. And we're just going to put it in the cracks here, and maybe inside of the flower, because that'll hide kind of the places I can't get to polish. And then we'll just polish the highlights. Looks like it slipped in down below too, so probably going to want to go down below. Alright, well that's kind of does it. Okay, polishing mode is a whole different thing. It's noisy, it's dirty, it's greasy. Basically we're using some polishing compound mixed in with tallow, I believe it is. But it acts pretty quickly, and it gives us what we need without too much effort. A little bit of burning fingers maybe, but that comes with the territory. But I like to use this real thin wheel because it gets down into all the grooves real well. Some jewelers will use a much wider felt Well, this is actually drag. Felt is a whole different ballgame. And I can get in here fairly quick and do what I need to do and get out, and not have to think around trying to get into all the corners and everything. Now it is. We're going to put some gloves on. And also, this is the place where we can switch over to the wider wheel. Let's see if we can get that going. Because on those wide, flat areas, the wider wheel actually works much better. Now the gloves work great, except you can't hold the damn thing. Now the key with polished and big, open, flat areas is you got to be careful to get under the fire scale, because it tends to be there no matter what. I mean, the boric acid helps a lot, but the fire scale's there anyhow. And you have to get under it because in a week or a month, that even if you can't see it now, in a week or the month, the fire scale starts to kind of pop up and show its ugly little head. Yeah. I'd say that's pretty good. We got a reasonable polish on that. There may be some more fire scale there, but not at the moment. Okay, so now just bring it in close. You see we got a pretty good polish, and the dark area underneath there is all of that antique, and that little line has got it's a fair amount of dark. The backside is nicely polished. It looks like we could kind of come back in right in this area here and work a little bit more, and you can see just a few lines and stuff, so just a little bit more, but you know that doesn't have to happen right now, and maybe just a little bit right in there too. So let's have a look at setting the stone. I think we're about ready to start considering that. Yeah, that's going to look good. It's going to be a nice piece. So, setting the stone. That has a whole process in itself. And there's actually many ways of doing it, and the way I found to be most workable for me is to use sawdust of different grades and qualities. Now this is kind of a granular sawdust, which is what I'll use this time. And what the sawdust does is it gives it a little bit of cushion behind the stone, so that when you push the stone in, it kind of has a sponge effect, and you push it in and then you pull the bezel in around the stone, and the sawdust kind of pushes back against the stone and keeps it nice and tight against the bezel. So I just put just a little layer in there, get it just right. Now which way do we want this to go? I kind of like the turquoise facing up. I mean the green part of the turquoise facing up. But actually, you know what? I'm looking at it. Maybe the stone doesn't fit that way. I don't think it does. All right. Yep, it doesn't. There it is. Fits that way. Oh, that one snapped in just like it lives there. That's a beauty. Okay, so now we just kind of really crush the stone down so that it's down as far as it can go. And then we come in with a setting tool. And there's all kinds of setting tools, but I like this one best. I actually made it for myself. Let's back up a little bit and see if we can. I guess not. Okay, let's do it this way. I actually made it for myself, and I can grip it. I can hold on to it. So I need to get my cheaters on, my glasses, and come in here. And basically I'm going to push the stone down and then push the bezel in around the stone. And at the same time, I'm going to end up scratching the leaf a little bit, but you know, I'm not real worried about it because once I get the bezel all set, we'll come back in and do a final polish and all of that stuff will straighten right out. Can you see the bezel's just a little bit away there? And the bezel's pure silver, 999. So it is so soft, it just rolls onto the stone without even thinking about it. Now, right in here, it's going to be a little bit of a tough cookie for a little while. Actually, let me get this one little chip out of there. Yeah, that looks good. So we're going to have to come in with a special tool. And it's basically a bezel setter, same thing, except that it's very thin and narrow, and it can get into places like this without too much effort. How are we doing here? Let me point us better here. Okay, you can get in here without too much effort and pull that bezel over where it belongs. There we go. Yeah, it didn't quite come out right for me right there. But we continue to play with it until it works. We got one little place right in here that I'm not even going to be able to get in there with my super duper bezel setter. So I come in with the next sharpest tool in the kit, and that is an X-Acto knife. And basically, you can just kind of pull it down with the X-Acto, trying not to scratch or scrape anything else at the same time. Probably a little bit up in here too. Now, I didn't say anything before because, but the important thing is not to do not get any solder on this joint here, because right now this has got to be totally free in order to be able to pull that bezel down. If there was solder on that, there'd be no way it would go down. So we're just kind of slowly working it down. There we go. That's pretty good. Now I noticed right in here that we got that antiquing, either that or it could be just gunk. Nope, it's antiquing. So we'll come in there and clean that up at some point. When we go back in, we'll just use a brush. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I notice right here that this little ball is pretty rough. So I think maybe we should come in and do a cleanup on that. And I just have the exact correct tool to do that with. Ha! Let's bring this up over here. We're going to get this right in place. We're going to take the camera out to the end of this. There it is. We'll bring the Fordham around, trade out the bit. Now basically what we're going to use here is an inverted burr, which will make that thing round again. Let me put it in here and then I'll show you what it looks like. So I don't exactly like how it came out. There's a couple of little imperfections in there that are bugging me. So I think what I want to do is just come in and texture the whole thing and kind of make it look like a, you know, the inside of a flower instead of trying to get it totally polished, because that's really my only option at this point. So just kind of I'll save you the boring moments of texturing. Okay, I saved you all of the gory details of polishing, which took about, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. And we've come up with the final version here. And I don't know if you can get a good view of it, but it came out pretty good. And the back looks really nice. Get a nice reflection off of that. Oh, there I am in the camera. So all that's left is to sign it and date it and put a chain on it, but we do that at the very end. So at this point, all that's left is to sign it and date it. So we'll move into that phase of the final phase, and we'll go from there. Okay, if we're going to sign it, then we've got to sign it very small. And I've kind of got that down these days, because I dropped the C in my name. And the NIK is all straight lines, so no big deal. And the only problem I have is with the 3 now. But that came out pretty good. I don't know if you can see it or not. Let's try it right in there. Anyhow, it's worth looking at. Maybe I'll take a shot of it.